finally time to see how well this thing has actually performed and how many goldfish I have at the end of the day. So I am going to do a full tutorial on how this whole thing works, so it's all summed up into one whole thing, show the fish and the whole stages throughout it, but thought you might be curious to see how it all goes and that sort of stuff. So I'm going to remove the air pumps that are going into it. I'm going to pump down the water because at the moment you can see behind me it is very green and I have no idea how many goldfish there are in there. So wish me luck, hopefully I'll get a few out of this and keep tuned.
Now, I let my system run down a little bit, so the aquaponics system didn't have masses of water in it, so I ended up pumping a whole lot of water back into it, and then I had to disable the air system. I left the socket there so I'd be able to hook it up again easily enough next season, but it's just sitting there, so it'll be sitting there happily for next season, and then it's just a matter of letting all the water run down. There was only so much of this water would fit in my system, so I put as much as I could in there, and then I ended up pumping it straight back into the grass and fruit trees and that sort of stuff around it. So all that water will be full of nutrients and everything and go fantastically inside of the grass. I'll have very green grass very, very soon. Not that it's not bad already, but it will be fantastic soon. Now, I couldn't figure out the best way to actually catch them in there, but I emptied down the water enough so I'd be able to find them, and you still couldn't really see them at the bottom because it's still quite murky and all the sponge at the bottom seems to get mixed up, but I basically go through there and try and catch them out with the net. And this is a point where I knew there was one or two in there that I couldn't quite find them, but the water was so murky I could not see anything. So I ended up draining out as much as possible, going through, trying to catch them, and even right at the end I still managed to find one or two very small ones that were hiding in there, but I ended up catching them all. Right towards the end of it, I ended up letting it all drain out through the net, so if any did sneak out they'd get caught in the net, and I still managed to find one in this lot, but it wasn't too bad. I managed to get all of them out and I didn't lose any on the ground, which is quite cool. Now you can see in there, they are all the goldfish, and I got about 64 all up. You can see the one on the top has, the one that's floating sideways, he didn't make it sadly, because I think he just had something genetically wrong with him, and I gave him a few days in the tank and he just did not survive very well inside of it, sadly. But I think that kind of happens with some goldfish every now and again.
So these guys have been in here about 2 days now, and I'm amazed about how quickly they've managed to take on the food, because it's taken literally no time at all. Within a day, I sprinkled some small pellets in there and they were gobbling up in no time. So it is quite awesome about how easy these guys are to pellet train. And I haven't had any deaths to them in there. They all seem to be coping quite well and getting along with the bigger fish quite fine. It'll take a bit of time for the colour to come through because they're still quite young, but it shouldn't take too long and I'll have masses of fish in here, which is pretty cool. I'm going to keep an eye on my nitrates levels. If they start getting a bit too high, then I'll probably sell some of these guys off, because I'm just basically what I do. I want to get a nice medium of nitrates for the aquaponics system, so it should go quite well. Now, I was hoping for a few more goldfish out of this, but I think the dragonfly larvae just seems to wipe them out completely. There was only about 60 and I was expecting a couple hundred out of there. But overall, 63 goldfish, which is pretty cool, and that sort of stuff. Now, like I said, I am going to be doing a tutorial, a full tutorial about the whole process, so you've just all in one place so you guys can watch it and new people can find that sort of stuff and get all the information inside of one video instead of scrolling through the 5 or 6 update ones I've done throughout the season. So I hope you guys got something out of this, and keep tuned for the videos coming up because I've got some cool stuff coming up. Thanks guys.